Hello and welcome to Simon Says Let's Talk Business here on Business RadioX. I'm your host, Al Simon, with Sandler. And on this show, we talk with high-performing business professionals to sharpen our skills and learn new ideas and concepts, sharing best practices, and we get to know really smart people. So listen carefully and take some notes. And at the end of each segment, look for their contact information so that you can engage with our guests, because you're going to want to. And as always, we will conclude our show with a sales tip from me in our Ask Al segment. So today I'm really pumped because we got two great guests. We've got Travis Giles, the founder and master clothier for McMahan's Clothing. Welcome, Travis.
Thank you.
On St. Patrick's Day,
Yes.
McMahan's Clothing. Awesome.
Was that an accident?
Yes, it was actually purely coincidental,
Okay.
but it works. It works, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good. And we also have Marty Gildemeyer with the Praxis Group. Welcome, Marty.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Good, thank you. So we'll start with Travis. Talk about McMahan's Clothing. Travis, I've known you a while, right? We've known each other a while, and you're always Natalie dressed. Is that a word, Natalie?
I don't know that it is.
Okay, you're always well dressed.
Thank you. Now it could be. I didn't do so well in English, so I struggled.
Okay, but you do have the green tie on today.
Yes.
Which people can't tell because it's radio, but if they look at the pictures on the website, they'll see it's a St. Patty's Day tie you've got on.
It's one of my favorites.
They probably won't see my socks, which are green, but that's okay.
They are bright.
Just. And we won't go into what Mike told us about what he's wearing, so we'll just let that go. But have you been doing this your whole career?
More or less, yes, with the exception of a few years out of college.
Okay.
But
Wow.
I studied fashion merchandising,
Okay.
marketing in college, worked in retail, worked in buying, short stint in buying up in New York, worked in retail in the Southeast, worked for a larger company, got on this side of the business as far as custom clothing back in 98, started McMahan's back in 02.
Okay, so you decided not to go with the retail giants or whatever, but instead do your own thing.
Yeah, that's hard.
Is it?
Great business and knew a lot of successful folks, but they're all over the place. Traveling, you can't grow unless you're traveling.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is a way for you to have control over your life, and also to help people to succeed by how they dress.
Yes. The effect that it has on clients, I'm still overwhelmed today.
Yeah.
Attorneys, you name it, guys at the top of the game, and they still want a top-level garment that fits like a glove for when they go into that case or they go into the big meeting, and they still talk about it. It's just the wives tell me their husbands walk differently.
Really?
It's amazing.
It's a confidence thing, or what?
Confidence. They feel. I mean, the old adage of feel good, look good, but they look in the mirror. It's not even that. It's just everything fits differently than they've ever fit before. So many testimonies. I never knew clothes could fit this well.
Okay, and so that's got to change your mindset then, going into your business day, right? When
Correct.
You feel like you're put together, so you got it together. That's an interesting thing. I haven't even thought about that.
So for a lot of guys, it's just another tool in their arsenal.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now you mentioned attorneys and people that are, typically we think of as being, dressed more professionally, I guess. But these days, there's an awful lot of the business casual going on.
I knew you were going to go there.
Right?
You had to go there.
Well, because I'm there, right? I'm thinking I wear jeans, dress jeans, but jeans a lot of times, even if I'm training in front of groups these days.
I can help you change that.
Yes? You think I should change that? You don't think jeans are appropriate in business, and even dress jeans?
They can be, but not all dress jeans fit appropriately.
Okay. So as long as they're...
Same as suits.
Yeah.
Suits may be appropriate, but the suit may not fit very well. Still a good presentation, but if it's just the wrong size, ill-fitting, wrong color, it can be a negative influence.
Yeah.
When you go casual shirts and jeans and that sort of thing,
Right.
now you're going to really take it down several levels if they're not fitting properly.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
All right. Well, it does make sense to me, but I want to clarify if you don't mind. So you said take it down to several levels.
Meaning you were dressed pretty well and presenting a pretty good image for a business casual, but now is it business casual or is it kind of sloppy? Is your shirt wrinkled? Is it too blousy? Are the jeans saggy in certain areas where they really shouldn't be?
Mm-hmm.
And all of that can draw attention away from you, the presenter. Therefore, people can be distracted and not hearing or listening to what you're saying as intently as they could if everything fit properly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that does make sense. And I do think about that. I do. And I'm guessing our listeners do as well. Because it's a little confusing in business. How should you dress? Used to be pretty easy, right? You wear a suit because
guys loved it. Yeah. Blue suit, white shirt, red tie. Life's easy.
There you go. Wingtip shoes.
All day long.
Yeah.
Guys didn't have to make any decisions. I mean, when it started, because the whole business casual started back here, late 90s, early 2000. It had already been out in the West Coast for years.
Yes.
Most guys did not like the change because they had to make a lot more decisions in the morning to get dressed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that. I did. And I wanted to make sure I didn't wear the same suit the last time I was visiting this particular prospect or client that I wore, which is hard to keep track of.
So initially when the business casual, a lot of big firms, because guys were wearing suits every day. On the weekends, all they had was jeans and T-shirts. So now their business casual was the wingtip, the white shirt, the blue suit, no tie.
Right.
That was business casual.
Right.
Initially.
Yeah, and I want to ask you about that too, the open collar thing with a jacket. It seems to be pretty accepted, or at least pretty common.
Right.
Now, what is your take on that?
Again, done properly. Sometimes guys, there's too much open collar. It's not really presentable. It can take away from focused attention on the presenter if you're showing your gold medallion or maybe a little fur.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Or if you have a really nice shirt, but the first button position's a little too low, and now you're showing your 5-year-old undershirt underneath.
Right.
So you're completely take away from that great-looking shirt, and maybe the great-looking jacket fit well, but then that undershirt's ratted, tattered.
But it's okay to show undershirt, as I'm doing right now as we speak?
I wouldn't suggest it.
Really? But I don't want to go without an undershirt.
There's others. You can go with a lower V-neck.
Yeah. Yes, but with certain shirts, a V-neck is visible beneath
Some of
the
it,
shirt.
sometimes it can, and that's where you kind of have to look at change the if it's a white shirt, maybe you need to get a different type of white shirt.
Okay. All right.
And all of that goes into the process of what we do of building wardrobes and properly addressing, is it the shirt? Where's the button position when we're building custom shirts? Are we doing a crew neck? Are we going to go with a V-neck of an undershirt?
Okay. And how much of that is your client's preference versus your advice because of your expertise in this world?
Our process includes a peppering of questions.
There's a great word, peppering.
And
is that an Irish word, peppering? That might be an Irish word.
I don't know.
Well, let's use it today. We'll call it Irish.
I'll go with it.
Okay.
And so through that peppering process, find a lot of likes, dislikes, but what's the specific situation when you're wearing those particular clothes that we're looking to build your wardrobe? Is it business? Is it social? Is it a special event? Is it business day-to-day? Is it internal, external meetings, et cetera, et cetera? We find certain preferences, colors. What is your spouse, partner? What do they like? All of that goes into the integration of choosing, and once I hear everything going through the measuring process, all of that will influence what I will suggest. Therefore, the result and the intent is to be that you don't end up with a wardrobe or maybe just one simple suit that's good looking. The intent is that you receive what's best for you in your situation.
Okay. Is it all custom, or is there some things like off the rack?
I do have some off the rack clothing. I have a few collections of sport jackets, trousers. Do a lot of off the rack trousers combined with custom shirts and custom jackets.
Okay.
But belts, accessories, socks,
everything. Wow.
Boxer briefs.
Yeah.
Green ones if you need some more green ones, Mike.
Which we're not going to go there, but yeah. But wonder why he said that. I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's the process if and it's men, right? You're working with men.
Yes.
What's the process if a man wants to talk to you, doesn't want to commit yet? What's the process?
Generally, we'll talk to him over the phone first.
Okay.
Can do some consultations, but usually a lot of the business is by referral. So usually when folks reach out, they're ready to get started. We'll schedule a time. I'll do a little bit of peppering over the phone. We'll schedule a time, and usually a first time meeting somebody is usually about an hour and a half.
Okay.
Have a lot of those questions. What's the plan? Are we looking for an event, a process, business? What are we using the clothing for? What are we trying to achieve? What issues have they had in the past, if any? What do they like, dislikes? If they've brought, sometimes guys bring in a garment they love. And they want to duplicate it or make sure they don't do certain things. So through that, on top of an extensive measuring process, all of that, as I mentioned, then that helps me determine specific fabrics based on their specific wants and needs.
Okay.
We'll go through that, look at go through the fabrics, offer a variety of fabrications with the same objective, all different price points, choose that, and then custom garments finish up in about 6 weeks.
Okay. And why is all that better than just going to a high-end men's clothing store?
And there's some great stores, and if they work for you and you have time to go meal around in the stores or the mall, and it works, I tell folks keep doing it.
Really?
If they're in they found a rhythm that works for them, yes. But if you're looking for more variety and actually looking for a true custom garment, that's what McMahan specializes in. Yeah. 90% of the custom makers throughout the U.S. are providing a made-to-measure or a semi-custom product. And there's not anything wrong with that. The niche of my product is that the pricing is relatively the same as what they're mass producing.
Is it? Because the general perception from someone who hasn't used your services at McMahan's or someone like yours is that it's much more expensive.
Right. And to compare to a Macy's suit, absolutely.
Okay.
Everything's relative.
Right.
A everyday custom suit that we do is usually around $1,500–$1,600.
Okay.
Okay. Now, to compare that to what you get in the product that I've developed, if you were to find something with comparable features and benefits and construction details, you would have to pay 2.5 times the price.
Did not know that.
So, and then the other folks that are offering that similar $1,500–$1,600 suit at their custom shop will have what we call, it'll be a semi-custom garment and have a little bit of glue in it, what we call fusing. And I know glue can scare you, like, what?
Yes.
Glue? There's glue in your jacket.
Okay.
And that's a norm. But it's a norm for mass-produced items. So, again, the product that I developed, if you're going to buy custom, pay for custom, you should receive custom clothing. And when there's anything remotely similar to a garment off the rack, like the fusing or the glue, that doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
You should pay a lot less.
Would make sense.
Yes.
It would. Okay. Well,
That's too confusing. I know I'm kind of jumping around.
Well, my questions are jumping around, but I'm really curious about this because it's a major part of the people I train,
mm-hmm.
and it's a major part of my own professionalism, I guess, is a way to put that. and I'm quite sure that most businessmen do think about these things a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Most guys, will it make or break them? Probably not. But most guys that I work with usually want all the odds in their favor.
Yes.
And some of them eventually just get tired of the collar's too tight. They're doing a presentation and something's uncomfortable.
Yes.
That can throw you off your game a little bit.
Or like you said, distracting, and you feel the distraction happening. Yeah. Travis, this is great, and I know a lot of our listeners are going to want to talk to you. What's the best way for that to happen?
They can contact us through the contact page on mcmclothing.com, mcmclothing.com, or just Google, which is a little bit difficult, McMahan's Clothing in Sewanee. And there's a lot of information, a lot of pictures.
Okay. And McMahan's is spelled M-C-M-A-A-N apostrophe S. Right? Did I get that right?
Let me go back. M-C-M-A-H-A-N apostrophe S.
We would do it one more time.
I know, it's a tough one. That's why I went to mcmclothing.com.
That's easier. Let's do that. mcmclothing.com. That's easier. So our listeners can reach you through there and get a peppering of questions and see if it's right for them. How's that?
That's it.
All right, Travis, great to have you with us.
Man, thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Enjoyed it very much. So this has been Travis Giles, the founder and master clothier of McMahan's Clothing. And I'm your guest, Al Simon, with Sandler on Business Radio X. And so let's transition over to Marty Gildemeyer, the president and CEO of ProTech Mechanical and also Praxis Group.
Yes, sir.
All right. You got a lot going on there, Marty.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for any more time to fill. I'm looking for more space that everybody's not using.
Okay. Well, let's try to go chronological, right? So you started ProTech, 30 years ago? Something
Yes,
like that?
sir.
Okay, and that's residential and commercial.
Yes.
Heating and air conditioning.
Correct.
All right. So you're a mechanical engineer by background?
No, I'm not the engineer. I used the mechanical so we can incorporate HVAC, plumbing, and electrical.
Okay.
So right now we're just HVAC, but
Right.
we incorporated the name to be able to incorporate the other three should we choose to do
Right.
so.
And you made it through the recession that started in 2008. You came through it still standing.
You know, it was one of the times that we were able and prepared this time.
Yes.
The first couple ones we were rocked,
Yeah.
mainly because self-inflicted. We weren't prepared.
Yes.
This time we were blessed. And
Yeah.
we did make it through that one, and we were prepared to go through a pandemic to follow.
Yeah. So you've got this business, ProTech Heating and Air. You've got some number of technicians and trucks out there doing that thing, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then somewhere along the way, you saw there was a need, right? Tell us about that.
What if?
Yeah.
Yeah. So back in 2011 and 12, I've had a really good friend that is a software engineer, and for years, not only myself but my peers, we're looking to make running a business should not be as difficult as we make it as a small business person. Most of the time,
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
We do make it difficult.
It is. We do. We overthink it, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the one things we do is we go back to our natural thought processes and instinctive reactions. Is we can fix it, right?
Yes.
And as I'm running the business, I started getting to the point when somebody would ask me what I thought was my big hit, why I thought I was successful. I started thinking, I said, it's probably because I was healthy and could outwork my losses. And when that started being a reality, it was kind of a joke on myself. And then I started thinking, it can't be, it's got to be something better.
Yeah.
And small business folks, they don't have a team full of people that are in there and running and operating their business during the day. Mm-hmm. We're the chief cook and bottle washer, mm-hmm. right? And you're running and operating your business, and then when the lights go out for everybody else, yours goes back on, and you put on a different hat, and then either you're invoicing or you're preparing proposals and presentations for sales in the next day, and you rinse and repeat. Well, that part was the part that was missing, and it was just you could buy software and you could get applications to be able to do that, but it was hard to understand, right? and it didn't change the mindset. And the cost of these were just getting extravagant. But I started thinking management systems are usually what these are right now. They manage the data, they manage the customer, they have dispatch boards, but they really weren't putting a keen eye on knowing your business, growing your business, and giving you an impactful way to be able to price and sell your product. So we started to build it in the garage, and we built Praxis. Praxis is a Greek word for process. And
I was going to ask you about that. I love that word, process.
Yeah, and so it starts with you used it. I was just counted the times that you both used it today. It was 4 times we used the word process.
Really? You counting?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
and mainly because it's such an intricate word and we use it freely, but it's impactful, right?
It is.
So you start thinking of the way you start and run your business. It doesn't matter who you are, but we're talking about my peers in mechanical, is all the things you think you need. All the things you think you need to operate, well, all those are management tools. The day when you get out of bed in the morning and you walk in the door, everything starts with sales, right?
Now, say that again. Everything starts with what?
Everything starts with sales.
Okay, I'm glad you said it twice.
I got 2 more times. Yeah. And when I started thinking about that is now bring it back down to the lowest and repeated it, is none of that happens. You can't manage anything. There's no data. There's no customer. There's nothing. But yet, we're not paying a really intentional part of understanding that and how you're going to grow your business. Well, you listen to good people.
Right.
You listen to good ideas, but yet you don't have good processes.
Yes.
A lot of times we keep it in that 8-inch hard drive in between our ears. And then everybody asks you, what do you charge? And your employees ask you, what do we charge? And then when a customer says, what do you charge? Then maybe an employee says, hold on, let me check, and I'll call my boss.
Right.
Right. And you started thinking, well, you want to empower these people. These are good career-minded and focused people. We got to be able to get it in front of them. But more importantly is we got to change the mindset and the confidence level of that business owner to know their business. So that's when we started building the software.
So what didn't they have a handle on? The expenses, the margins, or what was it that was getting away from business owners like yourself in the HVAC world or other commercial and residential construction type of companies?
I'd probably say me and speak for my peers too. It's not that we got that journey. We knew kind of what we were doing with it, just didn't know how we were doing it. Right? You used old theories. We may have worked for somebody else and that's what they did, and you look around and see what competition is, and you're keeping your prices at the same competition level. But without a good process, you leave out intricate pieces of what it takes to run your business every day. Your vehicles, the tools, software that runs the business, the typical overhead pieces. But when it goes into a sales process, and you can look at it and see it, then you know where that target margin is. You know when you don't meet that target margin in there, what you have to be able to change.
Yes.
And most of the time when you start finding out, it's self-inflicted. It's not that we don't know. It's just we may be just a little bit short of how we're getting it. But here's the most important thing that I think comes out of it is it's not so much maybe the business owner, but it's the people that worked with him, right? How do we empower them to know it? And when they know it, now our power is just grown exponentially.
Yes.
Is now everybody speaks the culture of our pricing and sales. And so it's not like a price tag that you would go in and off of a hanger, right? It's mobile. And there's so many moving parts that there's a lot of different things that go into that. So we had to simplify it, right? And so we built the pricing and sales tool to be able to handle every piece of the business: service, installation, repairs, IAQ, indoor air quality. So it's the process of being able to simplify it, understand it, and then pay it back forward to repeat it.
Yeah. So and I saw that all over your website that keep it simple. Don't overthink it. And I think most business owners. You swing that way, right? They make it too complicated, or the other way where they just kind of see no evil, hear no evil, and they just kind of hope it all works out in the end. You see that too?
Exactly.
Yeah. But the tools that you've got with Praxis are simple enough for the average business owner to walk them right through it.
Yeah, and so one of the things we did is, I'm a contractor, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know construction. I probably value myself as a good people person, so I have the ability to sell. I love sales, say
it again.
I love sales.
Thank you. Appreciate
There's our
that.
4 times.
Yeah,
and I think that's where a lot of us in there is we can pick up for any mistakes. Just I can find opportunities.
Right.
That's never really been the problem. The problem is knowing and understanding your business. And sometimes we invest a lot of time and effort and go to different seminars, and we go in to invest in ourselves to be able to do that. But the difference I wanted it to be is when you got that information, now put it back in these business calculators, right? Put who you are in there, of what it costs for you to run your business, and those numbers don't lie, right? And when we get into that part where don't overthink it. A lot of times when you get software, the first panic button that hits is, okay, who's going to set it up?
Yes.
Right? And who's going to be responsible to operate it?
Yes.
Well, we took that fear out of there because I know that because I had that fear, right? You're going to spend exponentially amount of money, and then all of a sudden that person that spoke so eloquently to you and made you feel so confident and you trusted that now I can do it, they kind of disappear. And they're off to the next, that software company is off to the next one, and it's now you're left, right? So what we did is we actually built the whole entire thing out. There's over 9,200 defaults. We even put
the
name.
That sounds daunting.
Doesn't it?
Yes.
Right?
9,200.
So, right, down to a screw, and into what you could possibly have a cost that would run and operate your business. Mm-hmm. But we made it so simple that when you go to turn it on, the day that I deliver it to them, they can go to work. So we made relationships with their distributor and manufacturers, and we install and update their pricing of their own equipment.
Okay, so you're there actually helping them implement.
Absolutely.
All right.
So it's not that process to begin with. It's like theoretically what we wanted to be able to do, that the software wouldn't cost them a dime,
mm-hmm.
only if they didn't use it, because it wouldn't cost of sales. But yet you wouldn't. I don't really have a lot of, me personally, my team works a lot with the software, but my time that I spend with our contractors, it's not so much about how the software works. It's okay, so this is how we're running our business. How do you do it, and how is the standard, or what are other people thinking?
Makes sense. And you're absolutely right about people being left in the lurch. Prior to starting Sandler by Simon, myself, I was a corporate salesperson selling software, and a lot of my clients today, sell technology. And a common theme is the customers don't use enough of the system well to really make it worth it.
Right.
Because there's just so much, and then they don't know if they got it set up right, and and then they change some things, and then that doesn't work as well, and pretty soon the tool itself is running at maybe 30% of its capacity,
if that much,
for most people.
Right.
Yeah. So you take care of that, right? You're in there with them, holding their hand, helping them implement.
Yeah, and the great thing about that is it's like the limitations are only stopped by the individual,
mm-hmm.
right? And it's not like what you just said is sometimes it's that mindset that you get comfortable only getting to 30% of it. And if I just did this, I did better than I did before I had this. So I'm only going to start looking here.
Right.
Well, what we thought going into it, it took me so long to build it out, was how would I have thought 20 years ago, right? And how about some of these younger folks that we start seeing coming into the business now and coming into, what are they going to be thinking, and how overwhelmed are they going to get, and how do we get past those day one day?
Okay.
Right?
Awesome.
So we built the whole thing out. It's all ready to go. And I always have something to talk about, and we always have something that leads into the next one. But I always never wanted to say, well, you didn't have that in there, so I didn't know I needed to build it. We've built it.
It's there.
Right. It's now, I'm just going to invite you, change the mindset. Just move over. It's going to be okay. Just one more over.
All right. So, Marty, what kinds of companies can put this software into play effectively?
All. And right now, we've got it set up in the HVAC industry. We work with small business, one owner and a helper, up to large staffs. One of our largest has 30-something employees.
Okay.
So it's set to be able to support any size business. It does support a lot, and it gives you that mindset and that comfortability at the smaller level that they have an office or they have a staff that in the software.
Okay. So these kinds of businesses, how best to contact you to get this thing going?
Area code 770-381-0057.
Okay. So 770-381-0057.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Marty, and as for you, or you got someone else that you want them to contact? You want them to call for you?
Oh, absolutely.
Call
you
for
can,
you.
I call for
the man.
That's exactly right.
Okay, so Marty Gildemeyer at 770-381-0057.
Yes.
All right, and you can walk them through what it looks like, and they can make a decision, and then you can help them put it into play.
Love to talk to you.
That'd be great. Marty, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
And so it's Praxis Group,
Inc.
Right, Inc. Praxis Group, Inc. And Praxis is spelled Praxis.
Yes, sir.
And it means process.
That's correct.
Terrific.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So this has been Marty Gildemeyer with ProTech Mechanical and Praxis Group, guest on our show today, and great tool for helping business owners in the contracting world. Nice. And then we also had Travis Giles, the founder and master clothier with McMahan's Clothing. Again, this is your host, Al Simon, with Sandler on Business Radio X. And as always, we conclude the show with a sales tip. We call it the Ask Al segment, and listeners send us questions about sales. Did you say you love sales, Marty? I think I did. Yeah, I heard that. But sales can be complicated. I suppose, just like Marty's business was, and I think that in sales we often overthink it as well. And so the question that I've chosen that was submitted that I'm going to answer today is a good example of that. The question is, how can I impact more higher-level contracts? Okay, that's the way it's worded. How can I impact more higher-level contracts? Now, I'm assuming, if I were to translate that means how do I get larger deals? How do I get larger deals? Which is a pretty common issue for salespeople. And it's tempting to give the obvious answer, which is call on larger accounts. But but I'm pretty sure that's not why this listener gave the question, right? I mean, I'm sure that she, in this case, has tried that. But again, the word target is probably not being taken into consideration in many cases. I'm sure sales managers say, well, call on larger accounts, but you got to start with the target. You got to know what you're looking for. And a lot of times, if you've been getting deals that are not as big as you want, it's because you're calling on the wrong folks. And that may not be the companies. You may be calling on large enough organizations, but you may be calling too low in those organizations. And the lower you call on in an organization, the more they'll be transactional. This particular project or this particular issue I'm trying to solve. Whereas if you're going to call higher in organizations, you're going to have to get a lot more comfortable having strategic conversations. You're going to have to do a lot more homework, more research to know what this particular organization from a strategic standpoint is focused on. Are they growing a particular market? Do they really focus more on a vertical? Are they looking to acquire others? Are they looking to be acquired? There's so much that you got to know about the people, about the organization, and the people you're calling on. If it's CEO level or any C-suite level person, or general manager, or head of manufacturing, or you've got to know the kinds of folks you're calling on and what strategically they're worried about. And so it does take a lot more work. And also typically these deals take a lot more time, right? There's a longer sales cycle. So you got to get comfortable with that, and a lot of folks aren't. A lot of folks need that daily win, and they need that ability to celebrate more often. You work in larger deals, there's a lot longer stretches of time between wins, and so you got to take your wins when you can get them. So I always suggest, if you want to get bigger deals, target the right kinds of organizations and be ready to talk with higher up people in those organizations at a strategic level. Have patience, but also be working on the smaller deals as well, because you need those wins along the way. And it takes a lot more effort to work larger deals, and then if you don't win, you have wasted all that time. So you need to have a mix of smaller and larger, and you need to be able to understand how to work both kinds. So the listener who sent this in, I hope that helps you, but it really starts with that word target. And another word that's key here is research. And another word that's key here is patience. And so that's what I would say about that, how to bring in larger deals. So once again, this is Al Simon with Sandler. This has been Simon Says, Let's Talk Business on St. Paddy's Day with McMahan's Clothing and Praxis Group, Inc. And as always, good selling.